忍び込んで私屋上を目指すにあなたが最後に見た景色眺めたら何かわかるかも君に目にした風景だけど何にも浮かんでこない寂れた夜景を見てわかった私とあなたは永遠に悲しいくらいだになった屋上錆びついた手すりから消えるねさっと抜け無価値な夜景を見ながらあなたは最後に何を思ったの疲れながら廊下に見つめるさっと抜けあなたと同じ場所に立っても私はうまく悲しめない涙くらいで深呼吸視線が上がって空が見えた屋上私の頭上には見える星空の情景最後にあなたが見た風景がこんな景色なら嬉しいなこの風がれながら私考える現在形最後に見たのがこの空だと自分勝手に願ってる
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Morning, Neil. How you doing today? And I know other people will show up sooner or later. I was very, very late in putting out a tweet this morning about it. And that's my fault, of course. I just got wrapped up in doing other things. Saw an interesting thing I needed to verify this morning so that I wouldn't be lying because, just because you see something on the internet doesn't mean it's true. So I had to go through and do some confirmations this morning and to look up some stuff and to make certain that what I was saying was right. Because, one thing I don't want to do is get accused of lying and lying about something. This is going to be a fun stream because this is a subject I don't like talking about racism. It seems like racism is always on high alert. Everybody talks about it. And while I don't mind dipping my toes into that pool, there's always a lot of negative blowback to the person that's discussing it, unless you're on the correct side of the issue, which obviously, since I'm talking about it, I'm not going to be on the correct side of the issue. I am going to be on the very, very unpopular side of it. So, like a Band-Aid, let's just rip it off and get it out of the way early. All right? Okay. Where is it? Okay. This is one thing I don't like about this. Okay, here it is. Facebook. This is a story from the Washington Post. Facebook is embarking on a major overhaul of its algorithms that detect hate speech, reversing years of so-called race-blind practices. Those practices resulted in the company being more vigilant about removing slurs lobbed against white users while flagging and deleting innocuous posts by people of color on the platform. All right. So we're talking race-blind practices. All right. So if they were race-blind, and those practice, so that meant that it didn't matter who said them or what was being said or who was being said against. If it was a racist post, is being removed, and that meant more slurs were being removed against white users, and those posts were being put out by people of color. All right. The overhaul, which is known as the WOW project, and in its early stages, involves re-engineering Facebook's automated moderation system to get better detecting and automatically deleting hateful language that is considered the worst of the worst. According to internal documents describing the project as obtained by the Washington Post. The worst of the worst includes slurs against blacks, Muslims, and people of more of one race, the LGBTQ whatever community, and Jews. As one way to assess the severity, all right? So rather than saying these are slurs and we're going to delete them if we find them, they're going to say, well, this slur isn't as bad as that slur, so we're going to allow this one. And because this slur is against a straight white man, it can go ahead and go through no problem because it's not as bad as the slur against a gay black man. Interesting. One way to assess the severity, Facebook assigned different types of attacks numerical scores based upon their perceived harm. Perceived harm. I think this harm, again, because this is said against a black man, it's worse than because it was said against a white man. The exact same words were said, but because this was said against a white man, it's not as bad. Okay. For example, the company's systems will now place a higher priority on automatically removing statements such as gay people are disgusting than men are pigs. Interesting. They're both bad statements. They're both overreaching statements. All right. You know, both could be considered hate speech. Facebook has long banned hate speech, defined as violent or dehumanizing speech based upon race, gender, sexuality, and other protected characteristics. It owns Instagram, has the same policies there. Before the overhaul, the algorithms and policies did not make a distinction between groups that are more likely to be targets of hate speech versus those which have not been historically marginalized. Comments like white people are stupid were treated the same as anti-Semitic or racist slurs. Well, why not? It's still a racist slur. Saying white people are stupid is the same as saying black people are stupid. It's just the targets are different. Instead of saying white, it's black. Good point, Neil. Good point. In the first phase of the project, which was announced internally to a small group in October, engineers said they changed the company systems to deprioritize placing contemptuous comments about whites, men, and Americans. Americans, white men and Americans, we can say whatever we want about them, no problem. See, now, Facebook still considers such attacks to be hate speech, but they're not going to automatically delete them if they find them. And users can report it. However, the company's technology now treats them as low sensitivity or less likely to be harmful, so they are no longer automatically deleted by the company's algorithms. That means roughly 10,000 fewer posts are now deleted every day. 10,000 posts a day attacking whites, men, and Americans. 10,000 posts a day on Facebook attacking whites, men, and Americans. Get your mind wrapped around that. The shift is in response to racial reckoning within the company, as well as years of criticism from civil rights advocates that content from black users are disproportionately removed. Well, let's see. Disproportionately removed, or is it that black users are disproportionately more often using hate speech against whites, men, and Americans? It's like 50% of the violent crime in the United States is committed by 13% of the population. FBI statistic. So this is right back to that stuff that black people can't be racist because the systemic power, whatever. Morning, Jaeger Pony. What kind of nonsense is this? It's okay to say racist comments against white men, against white people, or sexist comments against men. That's perfectly fine. We're not going to delete it unless somebody files a complaint. We're not going to automatically delete things that we know are racist or that we know are sexist because, well, white men deserve it. Whites and men deserve to be the brunt because, well, they're not hurt as much about it as if it was a comment against a black woman. Facebook's new hate and enforcement. The fair enough quadrant, content that isn't overly damaging, but people agree should come down. The worst of the worst, content that people consistently consider to be harmful to society. Men are trash quadrant, content which our enforcement undermines our legitimacy. And people disagree quadrant, content of high potential of causing harm, but it is contentious. Yeah, I'm not showing you on the system there, Neil. We know that hate speech targeted to underrepresented groups can be the most harmful. Really? How is it? Hate speech is hate speech. You don't, how can you say that all white people are less harmed by hate speech? Uh, what? White people are inured to hate speech. Hate speech. There is not a white person in the world in this country that could be harmed by hate speech. That's what you're saying. Yet a black person is automatically more harmed by hate speech. Really? Now, over the past year, we've also updated our policies to catch more implicit hate speech, such as content depicting blackface. All right. Unless what you're doing is deleting anything blackface by Democrat politicians that they did in their younger days. Stereotypes about Jewish people controlling the world. Okay, but we know who says that more often. And it sure isn't white people saying that more often. And banned Holocaust denial. That's good too. All right. Because describing experiences of discrimination can involve critiquing white people, well, Facebook's algorithms automatically remove that content, demonstrating the ways in which even advanced artificial intelligence can be overzealous. A white man called her kids the N-word. Facebook stopped her from sharing it. See, I'm sitting here reading through this here a little bit in advance because I didn't read this entire article before I posted it. Oh, why do I have to do this? Okay, Amy Camel, you're blocked. I see the bots are here already this morning. How is it all of a sudden I'm gathering bots? Morning, Neil.
Morning. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, now it fucking works. Jesus. I tried to join StreamYard before on somebody else's stream, and it wouldn't work out for some reason. But at least it's working now. Yeah, I just wanted to tell you a little story. All right. So,
All right, now, okay, Neil. Now we've talked about your little stories before. Please try to keep the language on a little bit on the cleaner side.
yeah, I will. All right. My bad.
You know what I mean. Don't push it to where I get in trouble.
Yeah, definitely not. I'm
Okay,
trying not.
I appreciate that.
But yeah. So I managed the store for a while, right? And this one lady, come in there and tried to return some shoes at one point. All right. Um, I'm like the manager of the store, and I'm the only one that can do returns. And I'm standing at the front of the store, just doing what I do, straightening up and things like that. She walks past me to go talk to my part timer, which was of the same color as her. And I knew it was a return because, of course, she was bringing in a bag. So, I do. So I go over there, and after they start talking and just kind of start helping out because, I've got to do the return anyway. So, you know, it the conversation with her totally changed whenever she had to talk to me for whatever reason. And of course, we're going to deduct that reason because eventually she gets on the phone with her baby daddy or whoever it was, and she starts talking about white boy this, white boy that, bring up race and all this and all that. All because I wouldn't do the return because you could clearly tell the shoes were worn. There was still rocks on the bottom of it, and there was dirt inside the shoe itself, and they were healed. So I know she already done went to the club, wore the shoes, and she tried to return the shoes, get her money back. That's exactly what she was doing, And man, she just raised hell and tried to get me fired over that, saying that I was being racist and all this and all that. When she was sitting there, the one being racist the entire time. And there's only one thing that I said that she could possibly take it that way that I said, and all I said was, "I'm just tired of these people." And
You
what I
said you
meant
were
by
tired,
yes,
and that could be
and what I
taken as
meant
a
by
racist comment.
that's what the only thing I said that could have been deemed that because they think you people is a racist term, but I meant you people as in you people that try to come in here and buy shoes or buy stuff, wear it, try to return it, and thinking it's all right, thinking that,
Oh, okay. Oh, I get it. You said I'm tired of you people.
hmm
Okay, I missed the you people. All I heard was I'm tired.
no, I said I'm just tired of you people. Like
Ah,
you trying to come in here and you're trying to get over on somebody, and you're trying to look fresh when you go to the club, and then you try to return the products that you done wore, and thinking ain't nobody gonna notice when you leave dirt in the shoe,
yeah.
you know.
At least make the effort to clean the shoe up. Throw a little bit of polish or something on there to cover up the scuff marks.
And it's,
Take a little effort in your lie.
just
Yeah.
don't try to get over on people in life. Live, be a better person in life in
Right.
general.
Well, I mean, during the height of the season, from March through October to the 1st of October,
hmm
I usually get called a racist at least once a week. All right, and usually it's because I either I'm enforcing a policy such as having take cash deposits.
hmm
All right. Now we've learned that you take cash deposits, not credit card deposits, because credit card deposits get disputed, and we lose out on that more times than not when we charge somebody because they decided to walk off with our towels
Yep.
and sheets and pillows and blankets, or they've punched a hole in the wall, or they've put their
I can imagine.
they've smoked in a non-smoking room.
I can imagine.
So, but cash deposits, well, we can keep that cash deposit, and while it may not cover the damage done, or all the work involved in bringing that room back to that set of rooms back to rentable condition,
Mm-hmm.
it at least helps put a dent in the cost.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the worst one I can remember having to do, we actually charged the guy's credit card almost $2,000.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it was an American Express card, but we had photographs. We had
Good.
photographs, and him and his friend put a 3x3 hole in the wall, and figuring in the repair costs plus lost revenue on the room, it came up to just like $1,975. It was just shy of the $2,000 mark.
Boy, they tried to go rock star, didn't
They went World Star on that room. What they said was happening was they were horse playing and the guy's butt hit the wall, and he hit between the studs. Well, how hard do you have to hit that wall to bust out, the drywall like that?
they? I guess they thought they was playing WWE or
They were doing something,
something.
but we charged them for 3 days lost revenue on the room, plus repairs. And of course, they protested it. And by the time they protested it, we actually lost 4 days revenue on the room. We had proof of that. Morning, Sean.
What's up, John?
And yeah, Dar's voice has changed. And yeah, we lost 4 days revenue on the room, but we only charged them for 3. And we just showed all that to American Express, and American Express let us keep the money. But that was like a 2-month ordeal fighting with American Express, because they, these credit cards in the banks,
They got
we're not
plenty
their
of
customer. That card holder's their customer. They make a lot more money off that card holder than they make off of us, even though they charge us 2.5% every time we swipe that card.
and they got a lot of lawyers.
Yep. So, but anyway, they're more about trying to keep that card holder happy than keeping the vendor happy.
I can't imagine deal with them. The constant pace.
Oh yeah, well, right now it's not that bad. We only have 1 or 2 disputes a month right now. During starting about June, because that'll be disputes start coming in between 45 to 60 days after the charge. Because it takes people have to wait until they get their bill before they dispute the charges. So we start seeing the disputes, and we'll average during the height of the season and for a few weeks afterwards, we'll see up to 6 or 7 disputes a week. Yeah, and several $1,000s a week being disputed.
Yeah, that wouldn't be cool.
Be a headache. The most common dispute is I was never there, or I didn't give them my card to make these charges. And even though we're using that new system where the person has to insert their own card and sign it on the the little pad,
even
though we use that new system, we still had to go back to where we photocopied the person's driver's license and the credit card on the paperwork. On the paperwork that they signed, showing that we know we're paying this amount.
See, I'm glad I didn't have to deal with that type of stuff being the manager of that store.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
a big franchise store too, so I wouldn't have to deal with any of that anyway.
but anyway, so let's get back to this article here.
Yeah.
Facebook's automated systems remove terms that were white trash. Geisler, okay, that's what they used to remove, and cracker. But now they don't remove them.
Yeah, of course
All
not.
right.
And I've seen those terms used a lot more these days too.
Oh, yeah. So, but, just as, and since I started here on, started this with racism, Facebook no longer considers attacks on white people, attacks on men, generic attack. All white people are this, all men are that, or now even all Americans are as being harmful stereotypes or hate speech. That is just, I just can't wrap my mind around it. How anybody can say that.
Interesting.
All right. But now, they tore down, or not tore down, but they took down the Robert E. Lee statue in Charlottesville earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, there was a lot of conversation about what was going to go on with that statue. Well, now, here we go.
Wow.
The Charlottesville Robert E. Lee statue will be melted down by the African American History Museum.
Yeah, if that's not a statement, I don't know what is.
Okay. Now, but this gets worse. All right. The city had for months searched for a new owner for the 1,100-pound monument, okay, which served as a focal point for the white supremacists Unite the Right rally. Yeah, right. Okay. After the city took the statue down, 6 proposals on what to do were submitted by arts groups, historical societies, or individuals, some offering as much as $50,000 for the bronze sculpture. All right. But the Charlottesville City Council voted 4-0 to hand it over to the only local bidder, the Jefferson African American Heritage Center, a Black-led museum that proposed repurposing the metal entirely. Everybody else would want it. Everybody else, the other people wanted to preserve the statue.
Yeah, would that be the only actual person that bid on it? I don't really.
No. There are 6 groups total proposed on it. One offered at least $50,000. But the Charlottesville handed it over to the low bidder because they were local. Because they said they're going to melt it down. Called Swords into Plowshares, the project will allow Charlottesville to contend with this racist past. It's really taking something that's been harmful and transforming it into something representative of the city's values today.
Like what, LGBT issues?
Oh, it's going to be something about how white people are racist. It's going to be a racist statue. Yep. Whatever they turn it into is going to be racist. But it'll be racist against white people, so that'll be okay.
Yep. Yay.
Yeah, yay. Welcome to it.
Progression.
All right. Now, remember here, there's a very old saying, and I'm not going to say it exactly word for word, but you'll understand which one it is. Those who forget their past are doomed to repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Robert E. Lee was a very interesting general, very interesting man. Oh God, yeah, you're
Mhm.
right, Sean. It may
Right.
end up being a statue of Saint Floyd.
Yeah, probably.
All right, but
It wouldn't surprise me.
Robert E. Lee was a very interesting individual, and a lot of contradictions within him. And rather than use it as a focal point of saying, okay, at this time period, this man here, this is what he was about. Good and bad, or what we consider bad today, or what is considered bad today,
Well, see, the thing is, these
and
people
how
don't
history has
learn history.
changed. I'm sorry.
The thing is, these people don't actually learn history. You know,
No, they
and the
don't.
history that they do learn, it's a watered down version that is a very one sided version that we already know. It's already come out within the educational system. You know that it's very one sided. You know, in their perspective.
One of
So,
my favorite arguments that I end up getting into with people, and I say it's my favorite because I no longer have to do any research on it. I was just, I don't even have to think about it. All I do is sit there and the words come flowing out.
hmm
All right. Is over the 3/5 compromise in the Constitution.
yeah.
All right. That argument, it is so old and so that 3/5 compromise is so badly distorted.
Yep.
All right, what you got there? Let me open that up because I'm
See,
not.
most people don't realize with the 3/5 is the fact that if they were seen as a full vote, then all the racist people that they hated so much would have had more power, more voting power, because their slaves would have counted for more. All right. But they want to take it and say, well, they just weren't counted as full man. No, you idiot. There's a reason for that.
Well, hey, Sean, that link is broken. I get a sorry that content is not available right now. When I click on that link, so I have no idea what that is.
I might be able to check
Does
it
it
out.
have to do with Biden?
Hold on, I'm gonna try to check it out on my other phone. Yeah, no. Oh,
Huh? I have no idea what it is because yeah, I keep getting contents not available. But it's absolutely disgusting that they're doing that. They are going to make this, and this is the future that I'm seeing. Okay, and
mm,
I hope I'm wrong.
you're
Yeah,
probably
oh,
not.
yeah, Sean, I saw that the governor of Oregon is saying that reading and math won't count for passing for students of color, reading and math scores. Another thing that I've read here, and I was trying to find the study. Uh, I heard it, and I was trying to find the study to read it because sometimes what you hear and what studies actually say can be slightly different because people have a tendency to cherry pick.
Mm,
That's why I'll go if an article of some length like that Washington Post one was. All right, I will go through at least 50% of the article. before I shut it down because I don't want to be accused of cherry picking parts of the article.
Yeah.
All right. Good or bad, I'm not going to cherry pick it. I want to, give. It's like when I play the Forbes, the videos on the House and Senate hearings. I don't want to be accused of misrepresenting what either the senator, the House member said, or what the person, the witness, so-called witness or whatever, the nominee is saying in response to the question. Because when you hear it come directly out of their own mouth.
Yeah. That's one reason why I started watching those Ford posts that they got. Because, I mean, it's actually good.
Oh,
it shows everything that they say right there. And they don't even say much most of the time. Unless, they do post a few videos, like shorts, where it'll be just words over music or whatever.
Right.
With images, and I don't pay much attention to those, but usually when I'm reading an article or something like that, you can always tell a person's political leanings by the wordings and phrases that they use. It's so fucking obvious. Oh, my bad. It's so obvious, especially with most of it, especially with the lefties. And they don't even see it because they don't have that self-realization, that their words aren't even their own, because they're saying the exact same thing that somebody else has said.
Yep.
In the same way that they say it. They can't even choose their own wordings and phrases and things to come up with the same conclusion. No, it's word for word, verbatim, every single time with everything that they say. That's why it's so monotonous.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I do this different than what most streamers do. All right. And it's not because I don't want to talk. It's just I want to be accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want, I've seen too many people distort what other people have said.
Yeah, that's true.
And, leave out vital context. It's like during the Trump administration, and Jim Acosta was infamous for this shit. This is why one of the reasons why I can't stand Jim Acosta.
Yeah.
And why, yesterday when we were talking about the Christmas tree, Fox News's Christmas tree being set on fire there in New York, I put the blame on Jim Acosta. He deserves it. Jim Acosta, Chris Cillizza, and Brian Stelter at CNN. Because them three constantly bash and attack Fox News.
Yeah.
They use the worst language. It's not uncommon for them, especially for Acosta, to swear.
No, it's absolutely stereotypical because it's the only thing that they have that they can attack. Because Fox News is the only thing that's seen as right-wing media.
And the thing is Fox News isn't right-wing media anymore.
No.
The closest thing they've got to right-wing on there is Sean Hannity. And even Tucker Carlson's awful liberal on a lot of his stuff. But, there's some things where he is conservative or right of center. Good morning, Shio. Welcome. It's been a while since I've seen you pop in. Glad to see you back, Shio? Bud. And, but if you actually listen to Fox's news programming, and remember, it was Fox's Wallace and Fox's Megyn Kelly that attacked Trump during debates.
Mm-hmm. And he was supposed to be liberating.
So you can't tell me that. Fox News, the news departments, now the commentary departments are more conservative. Yeah, I can remember when Tucker used to work for CNN and he wore a bow tie. So, oh God, and we got another one in there. Let me jump over here, and there it goes. And I'm going to remove that, remove it, and I'm going to put the user in timeout. So, thank you, Sean.
Somebody likes you apparently.
That's the second. That's the second one today that we've gotten in. Yesterday I had 3 or 4 of them. Oh boy, Gloria Riley's not going. That's a bot that won't be able to touch us for a while. But anyway, let's see here. Next subject. Let's take a look at here.
Well, it's like they say, you're not famous if you don't have haters.
Okay. and since we're going to keep on now, this here is the one. Went to the fish market earlier, but only usual. Okay, I like that one. I like that, Shio. Well, it's like, Canada. Canada is not a real country. There is no such thing as Canada, which means, of course, there's no such thing as Canadians. Did you know that, Neil?
What's that?
That there's no such thing as Canada or Canadians?
It'd be news to me, I guess.
Well, you do know that they're all Maple Leaf.
Yeah.
I heard that the other day, and it took me a couple of seconds to catch it. And I started laughing. It was good. Remove time out.
By the way, Sean.
Bye, Dorothy.
On your comment about the kids and math and all that, I've seen that in my own district that I've lived in for my entire life, where they just, it's what they call it, the low expectations.
Yep.
They just keep lowering the bar, and now there's just there ain't no bar.
Well, okay, we got sidetracked there for a second because I was going to bring up this other story or article that I'd heard about, and I was actually looking for the article on that colleges are bragging that they're graduating more students now than they ever had, more students of color than they ever had. But there was a study done that the students who are graduating today, and this is why I wanted to look at the study, because I wanted to do a little research on it, and I can't find the damn study. I really want it. That the students graduating college today versus students that graduated college 20 years ago are actually scoring lower on all tests across the board.
Yeah, I could see that.
Their math scores are lower. Their literacy scores are lower. Reading comprehension scores are lower. Their but their GPAs are actually higher. But on standardized testing, the scores across the board are lower. So the only thing that can, reflect is that the standards have been dropped so far. I mean, there's And I wish, again, here's one, that research I wanted to do. Part of it, they mentioned one particular college where a student can graduate by simply showing up to class 50% of the time
Yep.
and passing half of the test.
Yep.
And they can graduate with the degree in that program.
I actually tried to do an online college for a little while, right? And after they told me, because I couldn't afford the money for the book that I needed, because I wasn't actually working at the time,
right?
I couldn't get the money from nobody, and so I just didn't do anything. Basically I had to fail out of it. But they told me afterwards that, oh, you could have just participated in the online threads and still passed class. And I was like, what? Why would I want to continue giving you money then?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. But now here's something else. So now this here's the one that I spent this morning verifying. Because again, I've learned not to take anything said by anybody on the internet as true. So, I sat down and spent about a half hour going through and pulling up about these 12 cities. Pulling up something. Okay. There's 12 cities listed there. All right. We've got Portland, Oregon. 12 U.S. cities that have broken annual homicide records. Portland, Oregon, highest since 1987. Indianapolis, highest since 2020. Toledo, highest since 2020. Rochester, New York, highest since 1991. St. Paul, Minnesota, highest since 2020. Tucson, Arizona, highest since 2008. Louisville, Kentucky, highest since 2020. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, highest since 1990. Columbus, Ohio, highest since 2020. Albuquerque, New Mexico, highest since 2019. Tucson, highest since 2008.
You notice a pattern here?
Austin, highest since 1984. And Baton Rouge, highest since 2020. Now,
all Democratic cities.
I'm sorry?
All Democratic cities.
That is what I was verifying this morning. That every one of these cities for this time period have had Democratic mayors, and most of them have had majority Democrat city councils.
Get this, Shroom. My city, they missed my city on this one, thank God. But my city also has broken the annual record. I think it's supposed to be at like 140 almost now in murder. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that.
How much did you miss?
Well, no, you said something about my earpiece broke up on me.
Oh, I said that my city, they don't have it listed on here, but my city also broke their murder record. They're like at almost 140 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a Democrat-ran city too.
See, and what's funny here is if there's a murder in where I live, it actually makes the headlines in the news. I mean, that's top of the fold headlines.
Yeah.
Down here where I live, But you get. I actually surprised that
Not,
Chicago isn't on here on this. I'm
uh,
actually surprised Chicago isn't on this anywhere.
I'm sure there's reasons why they're not because they have to be skewing the numbers. Honestly,
Well,
that's the thing with a lot of these is they try to skew the numbers on them. There's a lot of cities I know for a fact that have bad reputations, and they're only gotten worse. From everyone that I hear from a lot of these cities, it hasn't gotten any better. But the numbers aren't being reported.
but see, one thing that another thing that some of these cities have in common, Portland, uh, da, 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 Indianapolis, and St. Paul. And I believe Philadelphia. I'm not certain about some of these other ones like Tucson and Albuquerque and such, but some of these cities had a very high or very strong defund the police movements.
Yeah.
So that's concerning too. But
it happens when you teach fake anarchy.
Yep.
That's really all it is. It's fake versions of what they think they are learning.
Okay. I'm going to have to I need to take a very quick break. I'll be back in about a minute and a half. Okay. I'm sorry. But something's come up. I've got to take care of real quick.
Go ahead. Ain't no trouble. I'll just sit here and chill. What's up, y'all? Chat, Gio. It's been a minute. Gio. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't really have much to talk about. It's just a lazy day for me. We ain't going to be changing out that rear end in my homie's truck today. So, whatever.
Okay, I'm back. Give me just a second to get myself organized again. See, yesterday I made a mistake during the stream, and I let my dog outside, and then I started my stream. He wanted out. Well, get down with the stream, and I'm tearing down my system. And what in the devil's that noise? It was pouring out, and my dog was stuck outside, and he was hiding underneath the shed, shivering, trying to stay dry.
I bet he wasn't happy.
No, he was not happy with me, and neither was the wife. Well, that's why I had to go real quick because he was outside again, and it's just starting to rain.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, it's supposed to start raining here pretty soon.
I do not want or need to go through what I went through yesterday. Having both the wife and a dog mad at me.
Yeah, the whole house.
Yep. Oh, Sheila, I ain't never going to bop you. Yeah. By the way, your window liquor there comment. Okay. Now here's another, and here's another great article here I found, and we're going to cover over this. Again, we're doing racism right now. Is a racism day. All right.
Yay.
And here we go. How I'm this here's from Reductress. And this is a place I've never heard of before, reductress.com.
I've never heard of them.
All right, but how I'm decolonizing the sidewalk by pushing white people into the street.
Wow.
If you're a black person, if you're a black person, you probably know that white people will not make room for you when you're walking down the sidewalk. Well, it's not white people. First of all, that's a racist remark right there, saying it's white people. And
In my experience, my entire life, black people, they tend to try to walk in your path. Just saying.
well,
Especially
it's
with a
it's
group of
people in general. I mean,
where I'm
it's
from
no. What
specifically.
I'm saying is, people get on the sidewalk and they think and they own that spot, and they get it, and you. It's like going to Walmart or going grocery shopping, and you get people who, they one of the things I hate worse about going grocery shopping is coming in with, coming up on mom or dad, and they've got their 2 or 3 kids in tow, right? Well, instead of, the kids stand there on the side of the shopping cart, so that means you can't get past them because you got the
Yep.
shopping cart, then the kids, and the kids won't move. And excuse me, and mom just sort of looks at you, and the kids just sort of look at you with the blind, deer in the headlights look in their face, going like, "What do you want? How about get the hell out of my way?"
Or just have a little bit of common courtesy for other people.
Right.
And don't be expecting other people to give you courtesy that you're not willing to give other people. Do unto
So,
others as you would have them do unto you.
in the United States, white supremacy is everywhere, especially on the sidewalks. Sure, we focus on decolonizing our minds, but what about decolonizing the pedestrian paths that help us get around our cities? That's why instead of bumping into the sides of buildings or being forced into fire hydrants, I've decided to decolonize the sidewalk by pushing every white person in my path out of my way and into the street. I started doing this after a large group of white women were stopped on the sidewalk, wouldn't move, even after I said, "Excuse me."
She seems like a very nice person.
Well, first of all, I mean, I'm going to say this is more of a woman thing, regardless of race, than anything else. All right. Because I don't care, white, black women, Hispanic women, you get a bunch of them in a group talking, and
Oh
they're
God,
not going to move.
the hen house.
When you get that cluster of hens doing their thing, you can forget about trying to get around them. All right. So it's not a race thing. It's face it, it's a woman thing. Why were they stand there still in the middle of the sidewalk in an insanely large group? I still don't know. But instead of squeezing past them like I normally have to, I decided just to push them all into the street. "Why would you do that?" one of the white women asked, but I was too busy ignoring them and carrying on in my own life to pay any attention.
Sean.
Oh, what'd Sean say? Yeah, that's true. Oh, is it a satire? No, I did not know it was a satire site, Sean. Or useless? Is it really? Oh my.
Well, I mean, I would hope that wouldn't be a real article, and somebody would be that bold and brazen to say something like that. Just saying. But I know people have. I've seen it myself. You won't.
Oh.
You watch these live
Okay,
streams.
yeah, it's right there at the top. Satire workshops.
You watch these streams, these live streams of these protests and all that they had. They don't do it anymore because they get caught doing the stuff they do. But I spent quite a while watching a lot of them streams, and you see a lot of stuff coming from these so-called left-wing protests.
Well, boy, color my face all kinds of red, and you could fry an egg on it. Oh, my. Wow. Okay. I'm an idiot because but I hate to say it, but that article sounded real.
Like I said, I've seen people say stuff just like this.
That article sounded real to me. That was worse than the Babylon Bee, because I could believe that happening. Wow. Oh. Okay. I wonder if that makes me a racist for believing a satire site.
Everything does these days.
I mean, that was good though, because I mean,
just you breathing air makes you a racist these days.
I mean, we've all seen that Zoom call of that one guy saying that he was all for gassing white people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I mean, now he had his account taken. No, that wasn't Zoom. That was TikTok, I believe. He had his account deleted after that. But that videos of that call, that group chat or whatever you want to call it, is still out there. I mean, nobody contesting him, nobody shutting him down, nobody telling him he was wrong for saying it.
Look at some of the stuff that Grandmaster Jay has said.
Who?
Yeah. Grandmaster Jay.
I have no idea who that is.
Oh. I'm pretty sure you do. You just don't know his name. He's was the so-called leader of the NFAC.
The what?
It's called the Not Fucking Around Coalition.
Again, I've missed that one.
Oh. Look at Grandmaster Jay. I will show you and introduce you to something now that you could talk about on this subject.
Well,
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to share this and let you guys see this one here. This one here, okay. This is a letter from an HOA. All right. Unfortunately, since it's a photograph, I can't enlarge it. All right. But this is Minneapolis, Minnesota. St. Anthony, Minnesota. Okay. I couldn't help but notice your Christmas lights display. During these unprecedented times, we've all experienced challenges which casual words just don't describe what we're feeling. The idea of twinkling, colorful lights are a reminder of the division that continue to run through our society. A reminder of systemic biases against our neighbors who don't celebrate Christmas or who can't afford to put up lights on their own. We must do the work of educating ourselves about the harmful impact an outward-facing display like yours can have. I challenge you to respect the dignity of all people while striving to learn from differences, ideas, and opinions of our neighbors. We must come together collectively and challenge these institutional inequities. St. Anthony is a community of welcoming all people, and we must demand better of ourselves. Well, good morning, Parody Bear. Now, my response to this is real simple. Why is it that a tradition of this country has to be changed for people who move here from other countries whose traditions aren't the same? If you're coming to our country, if you're coming to our neighborhoods, and you don't like what we do, move your happy backside somewhere else, back to where you came from. And you want me to respect your religion? You want me to respect your holidays? You better well respect mine. You want to put up, you're an Indian and you do the Hindu religion, and you and I tell you, I work for some people that worship Ganeshki, and I've seen how they decorate their office during the various different Indian holidays to keep up on things. I respect them I respect what they do. But they decorate the lobby for the American holidays.
Okay, so I gave you a couple of links in the.
Yeah, I see those YouTube videos you put up there.
Yeah, the third one will give you an idea of how inept on guns he is. The first one is also a short one, but the second one is kind of a 5-minute video.
Right.
But it'll give you more information on what he's about in his own words, actually, because it was a interview that they did with the group. Hey, Becca.
Good morning, Becca. You done for the day? That's great. That means you get to go home, sit down, relax. 10 o'clock. Oh man, an early day for you too. Real early.
I'm introducing Shroom to Grandmaster Jay, Becca.
Is this somebody I really want to be introduced to? Is he going to hurt my brain?
It might. I mean, he's a total idiot. Okay, he is harmless in most aspects, but he is spreading the type of ideology that is going around these days, which is black separatism. All right, he believes he's the guy that said, carve out us a piece of land, we'll take Texas, talking to the government, and talking about giving Texas to all black people, and that's where I was like, yeah, I would like to see him try that, because that's not going to fly in Texas. I'm just telling you, dude. And here's the funny thing about this whole this guy too. Well, not this guy specifically, but the guy that shot the footage of Ashley Babbitt and got let go, he was on stream with another left-wing streamer and was talking about and praising Grandmaster Jay on the work that he does, and that they need to start collaborating with him more and things. And this was right after he got released from jail, after he initially got arrested for being there, and then they let him go. I watched that live.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm deep off in the political side of the internet. I know a lot of stuff I've been there for.
Well, are you ready for a piece of good news?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's a piece of good news. The Senate had a joint resolution that basically this joint resolution nullifies a Department of Labor emergency temporary standard for preventing transmission of COVID-19 in employment settings. Under the standard issued on May 5th, 2021, employers with 100 or more employees must require to either be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 or undergo weekly COVID testing. All right. Now, so this resolution is to nullify that order. Okay.
Okay.
So
Nullifies which order?
the Biden order for companies with 100 or more employees to be vaccinated, 100% vaccinated.
Yeah, I
All
did
right.
hear about it.
This is the Senate vote on it.
Have all senators voted? Does any senator wish to change his or her vote? If not, the yeas are 52, the nays are 48. The joint resolution is passed.
Could you guys hear that? Neil, could you hear that?
Yeah, sorry, I could hear it.
Could you hear the audio for that?
Yeah, I heard it. Sorry about
Okay.
that. Smoking.
So that resolution passed in a Democrat-controlled Senate. The Democrats and the Republicans actually came together last night and vote in the Senate. We're talking Chucky Schumer here.
Honestly, I don't think they really have the confidence that they would be able to take firearms and things, you know?
Well, no, this was to nullify the executive order through OSHA and such.
Yeah, the mandate
to require to mandate vaccinations.
You know, but they know it's not popular though. You know, that's what I'm saying. Just like guns, and you know, they always try to talk about taking guns. They know they don't have the support for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've got something else coming up here for guns here in the next week or so.
Uh-oh.
All right. But let's see. I would learn Japanese 100% if I was going to go there, but the symbols, it's a bit different than understanding Italian or Dutch.
Hey, you should play that third link that
Okay. Well, I'm not Neil, I trust you, but I still don't want to play something until I've had a chance to watch it first.
Oh.
Okay. I mean, it's just to be on my own safe side here.
Well, you should watch it later then.
Oh no, I'll watch it later.
You'll get a laugh out of this guy, I'm telling you.
Okay. Yeah. Becca, there was a CNN report last night that I thought I had it in a tab, but I accidentally dropped it. And I didn't want to go looking for it again. CNN is claiming that they're actually being more negative against Biden than they were against Trump. Can you believe that nonsense?
Yeah, that's a lie.
That they're claiming that the media is more negative on Biden. And
we know it.
What they're using as evidence of that, okay, are people protesting Biden's mandates. Since they're reporting on the American people protesting against Biden's mandates, they're saying, well, that's shown that we're more negative on Biden.
Yeah. Like I said, everybody knows that's a lie.
You know,
Everybody.
yeah, that
Come on.
it is. It really and truly is a huge lie. You know, Becca, since you're here, I wasn't going to play this, but since Becca showed up, I want to play one of her favorite Congress critters.
Uh-oh.
And this is going to be on a subject that you like. All right. This will get two of you wound up this morning.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Yep.
Buckle up, Becca.
Unfortunately, we only have to listen to her for a minute and a half.
The gentlewoman from Texas seek recognition.
The Speaker to address the House for 1 minute.
Without
Unanimous
objection,
consent.
the gentlewoman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, in this holiday season, a time of joy, there's still families who are mourning the tragedy of loss of their beautiful, precious students in Oakland County, Michigan. What a suffering time. In this place where our voices speak volumes, two members decided to show their holiday spirit by exhibiting their families with any manner of weapons, AK-47s and otherwise, automatic weapons. How they
Liar. Those were not automatic weapons. They were semi-automatic. So
Well,
there's
I mean,
your first lie.
what-
There's the first lie this woman spouts.
What's the point, anyways, of bringing up the guns? Like, how they celebrate is how they celebrate. What's the point?
Well,
I know plenty of black people that celebrate with guns all the time.
the thing that she's trying to do here is, you know, the Democrats are on a huge push to de-seat remove any and all Republicans that possible from committee positions. And this here is her attempt to bring a couple of people up to where they can have grounds to remove them from their committee seats.
thought that this was the volume that should be heard from this place, I do not know. But I really condemn this kind of attitude, this kind of volume that generates into violence. We have a responsibility as we take an oath.
You know, you want to talk about causing people violence. You know, Ms. Sheila Lee, you need to go back and review some of your own speeches from when Trump was in office and the violence that you called for against Trump and Trump supporters and people in the Trump administration.
Tell them they're not welcome here. You know, cause a scene.
If you really want to talk about hate speech there, Miss Sheila Jackson, and, you know, inappropriate volume from that office, from that house, you really ought to look at your own past, just in the past couple of years. I'm not going back 30 years. I'm going back 4 years. What you've said and done.
Responsibility as we take an oath in this place to uphold the laws of the land, but to be role models for the American people. Guns in the holiday season, in the midst of precious souls that died, enough is enough. Pass real gun safety laws and pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Elections count. Enough is enough. Let us act like those who have taken an oath to serve this nation. I yield back.
The one time that you could have messed up and not shared the audio, and I would have been totally fine with it.
Well, see, I wasn't going. I'd almost decided not to show that clip.
I wouldn't have even said anything. I'd be like, "Yeah, I can hear it."
Okay. The one time I was actually considering not showing that clip, but then you decided to jump in, and then Becca popped up, and it's like, okay, I got two targets with one video clip. What more fun can I have here?
Bastard. Gotta torture us, don't you? Becca, get him. You're not working now. You can yell at him.
Yeah. Becca's exactly right. See, I'm not going to give Jackson Lee the honor of having a nickname. I'm not going to use that nickname there. I mean, for Jackson Lee. She is such, I mean, it's like Hank Green. I am going to remind people as often as I can about Hank Green asking if Guam could tip over from having too many naval personnel on it.
Oh, you want to hear something funny, Shroom?
What's that?
So apparently it's become popular within the last couple of elections to put your nickname on the ballot for some reason.
Right.
There was this one woman. You could just imagine what her real name was, because her nickname that she put on the ballot was Big Mama. I'm not kidding you.
Bertha? You said Big Mama, and Bertha is the name that popped to mind.
Oh, it was a crazy name. It was a crazy real name, but I can't remember.
Lord have mercy.
But yeah, I was like, really? This is what you want to be known as when you're running for office?
Big Mama, yeah.
And you can just imagine the politics that come along with that nickname. Just saying. Because she was a person that definitely had left-wing politics. I can tell you that.
Now, I don't feel like going into AOC saying some stupid crap yesterday. And I was going to play some of her stuff, but nah. I'm not going to. I've subjected you to Sheila Jackson Lee. I'm not going to subject you to AOC right after that.
Hey, I knew what the show name was when I jumped in here.
Subjecting people to 2 cases of dumbassery back to back like that.
Yeah, just watch Johnny's show.
And I really wish I could watch more of Johnny's show. And Johnny, now, like I was able to be on there or listen to and watch some of it last night. That's good, Becca. I like that. Neil, did you read Becca's statement?
Oh, God. Yeah. I'm not sure what she was running for, to tell you the truth. But I know she was on the ballot for something. I was like, I just seen the ads and I was like, really? Really? This is what it's come to.
But yesterday, AOC was sitting there, the woman is supposed to have a degree in economics, or so she claims. But she can't seem to understand that when you charge, that if you're going to pay employees $15 an hour, that means you have to charge more for your services.
You would think.
Okay. Because you can't just generate $15 an hour out of nothing.
Yeah.
If you've got to have enough income coming in to support, because and it's more than just having to pay for that $15 an hour, because then if you ever look at what your employer has to pay the federal government in addition to what you pay the federal government, for having you as an employee.
I guess they just have this idea that, oh, if we just force them to pay more, then the big higher ups will just give it out of their paycheck or something. I don't know. I don't know how that logic is supposed to work.
But anyway, she was complaining about the cost of childcare going up and how women and single mothers can't afford to work because they don't earn enough at work to pay for the cost of childcare going up. Well, why is the cost of childcare going up? Because they're having to pay their employees more because of you demanding everybody make $15 an hour. So, it's a never ending circle there. It doesn't just end.
Nobody said they were bright.
So, but yeah, I was having fun with Moo last night. Becca, I really wish on Moo, I hope Moo was just goofing when he said he only showers once a week. I hope he was just goofing about that. Because one, I mean, if I skip a day taking a shower, I stink so bad I can't sleep. I've got to at least go in and get a washcloth and what my dad lovingly called get a whore's bath. Get a washcloth, wipe the face, armpits, and crotch.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that. I think I was asleep.
Well, it was early enough that I was still at work when he was saying that. So it was before 11 o'clock Central Time when he was saying that last night. But I mean, come on, Moo. If you're going to, if you're being honest about that, you weren't just yanking chains. You've got to get in that shower every day, bud. If you ever want a woman to get anywhere near you, you've got to get in that shower every damn day and get yourself cleaned up, because that Old Spice, it's not going to cover up that stench.
Hell no.
It's not.
It's gonna make it worse.
It is not going to cover up the stench of your armpits. It's not going to cover up the stench of your crotch. No, it's not going to cover it up. It really and truly isn't. And yet you might be able to enjoy your own funk, but nobody else around you is going to enjoy it. And you will be a very lonely, lonely man until you start showering every day.
I'm not going to share that.
And getting yourself clean.
I'm just going to say that. I'll tell Moo later. I'll leave that story off this one.
But Becca, are you sure he wasn't joking? Because that is, I mean, how can you go without washing your butt for a week?
I don't know.
I really don't. I mean, no.
Yeah. Come on now. Like, at least every other day. Like, I'd be, I'd be like, all right, okay, you ain't done shit today.
I mean, there's days where when I get off work at 7 a.m, I come home and crawl into bed, and I wake up and, basically I lounge around for the rest of the day in my pajamas. But I'm afraid I'd be throwing buckets of water on the kid. I would be standing there every day at the bucket of water and dumping it on him.
Yeah.
A bucket of soapy water that he'd have to go and get in the shower to get that soap off of him.
We knew this one kid at school, and he was a fat dude too, but you could tell he didn't shower. Like, but once a week or something like that. And he just stopped, dude. And then he didn't understand why people didn't want to be around him. So, no.
I mean, I'd rather be around Pigpen than somebody that hadn't showered in a week. I'm sorry. That is such a disgust. And no.
Get him, Uncle Shroom.
That's again, I grew up on a working farm. Okay. You had to get a shower every day, or else you smelled like horse and cow manure. Or even
Yeah,
worse, when you had to go in and do the chicken coop. And chicken coop. Oh God, the stench in a chicken coop can kill you.
Yep.
That is so nasty in a chicken coop. And I don't care what size chicken coop it is. They are chickens stink.
Oh yeah. They're nasty.
So,
Oh God.
I mean, I'd come out and I mean, that's where for years I'd change clothes twice a day
Oh yeah.
because
One to work in and one to drive home in.
I mean, I'd get home get up in the morning, get dressed, go out and do what I had to do in the field, in the garden or fields or the barn, and come in and change and get a shower and put on fresh clothes from drawers on out. Did not want anything touching my body that had been out there in the barn.
Mm-mm.
But no, I'm
So,
serious. I'd have not hot soapy water, but soapy water I'd dump on Moo every day. And if he's not changing that linen every day, or at least once a week, that linen would be getting soaked. That's nasty. When I was active duty, I got tagged, and I think I've told this before. I got tagged to do a dorm inspection. Every NCO got tagged once a week to go out on dorm inspections. And I could remember the dorm inspections when I lived in the dorms. This was almost the old-fashioned white glove dorm inspections that I went through. Okay, you see the ones in the old time movies where the commander comes in and he's running his fingers across the top of the lockers and underneath the bed rails and such, looking for dirt and dust. Well, I mean, our room inspections were nearly that bad when I was active duty and living in the dorms, and we had weekly dorm inspections. So I went out and I'm expecting this same type of dorm inspection, even though I hadn't lived in the dorms in about 10 years at this time. And the first room we walked into, the funk that hit my face, it was like a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
The funk was horrid. The sheets, now these are white sheets on the bed, right?
They were brown.
The beds weren't made, but they're white sheets on the bed. The only reason why you knew they were white is because part of the sheet was untucked from underneath the mattress, and you could see that corner was white. Okay, the center part where that body touched was black. The pillowcase was black.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The air vent that was above the beds, all right, had black coming out of it and down the wall.
That's mold there.
All right. The other bed was just as bad. And I looked at the dorm chief and I was like, all right, so let's write these people up, get them in front of the commander or the executive officer, and let's get somebody in, let's get this, write them up that this room is condemned and they can't sleep in it. And he looked at me and goes, why? I said, look. He goes, we don't do that type of room inspections anymore. Then what the hell am I doing here? This room is unsafe to be slept in.
Yeah, that's not habitable. That's black mold there. Buddy.
Well, not just that black crap coming out of the windows, but the guys, I mean, the mattress, the sheets were so nasty. I imagine the mattresses were ruined.
That's fucking that's
And I mean, I worked on the flight line. I come home dirty and nasty almost every day. Hydraulic fluid, LCS fluid. I mean, then just the normal crap that you get into working out on the aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there was and I never had my sheets look like that. I come home from work and, get a shower, get cleaned up before you put on fresh clothes.
Yeah,
when you got out of the uniform, your
Well,
dirty
we were
uniform went into the laundry bag until you went down to do laundry.
See, I was actually in a military high school. I wasn't in the military myself, but I went to a military high school and all that, and that was just basic,
But but since we're talking about racism here earlier, we went to another room, right? And these guys had their wall lockers set up so that divided the room in half. One guy had the first half of the room right there at the door, and the other guy had the back half. All right.
Mhm.
Well, the first half we looked up, and he had the Pan-African flag above his bed. And on his dresser, he had Pan-African little knickknacks with Pan-African colors on there. All right, that's pretty okay. I'm looking at the dorm chief, to see what his reaction was to it. And okay, go look on the other side, and there was a big old Confederate battle flag hanging there.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Had a guy on one half the room, Pan-African flag and such. The other side, he had the picture of the General Lee. He had the Confederate battle flag hanging there. The South will rise again.
I
Crap
bet
on
they had
his,
some,
huh?
I bet they had some interesting parties around there.
But the room was immaculate. The room was immaculate on both sides.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, these people probably could not be more different.
The thing is, you can't even have stuff like that these days because they see, if you look at their their uniforms, they're wearing BLM stuff, So these days, technically, that Pan African stuff would pass, but that Confederate flag, oh no, they would
No,
never
neither
have.
one would fly in the military today. You could
I
not
don't
have
know.
either one.
I don't know.
And-
They
and-
support, well, I mean, they support BLM, but I'm not sure if they would actually support that.
No, they would not allow either one of them in the military today. Not.
They
I
still
don't
allow
think
the stuff.
I don't think they would. The Confederate battle flag and such. That's automatic, but I don't think they would allow the Pan African or BLM flags in the.
They do.
In the dorms, not in the dorms.
But they have flown in the BLM flag and the LGBT flag on the flagpole itself, along with
Not
the
at
American.
military installations.
I don't know.
Now I know they've done it at embassies, but I don't. I
You
don't think
may be
they've
right.
done it at military installations.
Yeah, you might be right about that.
So, no, I don't think it would be allowed, not at a military installation. So, let's see here. What else have we got going on this morning?
Well, that was good to read then, Becca. She said no political groups are allowed anymore.
Yeah, well, they weren't really allowed when I was in, but it was as long as nobody's raising Cain about it, then life was good.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, 30 years ago from when I was in, like I said, I retired back in 1998. We were a lot more tolerant.
Mm-hmm.
We were a lot more tolerant.
Yeah. Everybody that I know that grew up in the 90s and all that, they said the exact same thing. Even though you had that hip hop movement in the 90s that, people followed, and that's where they got that from in the 90s was really the hip hop movement because, when you had, NWA and all them. So, I mean, that idea was spreading during the 90s, but it just wasn't seen every day-to-day life, and everybody understood that and knew that, but they understood that, okay, yeah, there are police problems around the country, because at the time there were, but it wasn't like the media said.
Well,
But
Becca,
the average people knew that. But,
Becca, yeah, I mean, back when I was active duty, like from 78 to 98, differences of opinion were allowed. And there was a group in Germany, like I've said this before too, there was a group in Germany of maintenance guys. They were all black. And they hung out together. Well, we had the 3 or 4 of the guys, their room was real close to mine, if not next door. One of them was right next door, and we were friends. I was the only white guy that hung out with this group of black guys. It'd be 15 black guys and me. And yeah, a lot of jokes got made about, there was a lot of jokes that were said a lot of times, but it was all in fun. I laughed as hard at some of the jokes as they did because they were fun and we had a good time. And the one
right.
guy, I still don't know his name, his
kind
real
of sounds
name.
like I grew up because I grew up in a black neighborhood, the black community. So.
We had the one guy, his name, everybody called him Sir Rab, short for Sir Rabbit.
Yeah.
And that's because, and the reason he got the nickname Rabbit is he was well known for jumping from bed to bed to bed in one night. He would literally have 3 or 4 women lined up for one night. And
the Quagmire of the group.
And so everybody just called him Sir, started calling him off the Rabbit, and then it was Sir Rab. But a very intelligent. I mean, I was 6'3", 200 pounds at the time, and he made me look small.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, I ain't been like 6 foot and about 175.
Yeah, I was 6'3", 200 pounds, most of it up in my chest and shoulders. Now it's all gone down to my belly. But yeah, he made me look small.
No, I'm just tall and lanky.
Oh,
really.
Becca, I'll bet that is a pain.
I got long legs and long arms.
Oh, I wonder how Kenny handles that. Oh man, I hadn't even thought of. See, in the in the Air Force, we weren't allowed to. We didn't do. We had a swimming requirement for you had a. They didn't publicize it too much, but for a time period there, they if you couldn't for some reason you couldn't run your yearly mile and a half, you could get into a pool and swim a mile.
I didn't need that mental image though, Becca. Thank you for that.
And they would so I found out about that requirement, and because I was having problems with one of my ankles, and the doctor and I agreed he didn't want me out running a mile, doing a mile and a half run, because I'd be very likely to re-injure that ankle bad enough to have to need surgery on it.
Mm.
So
That
he
wouldn't be good.
recommended I do the 1 mile swim. So I took the letter from the doctor and went up, talked to my executive officer. First I talked to the shirt who sent me to the executive officer. The executive officer said, well, I guess I have to approve this. He said, when do you want to do it? And I said, you pick the time and day and I'll be there. And he told me what time to show up. And I showed up over there at the pool, and I had on a pair of trunks and getting ready to swim. And he finally shows up 15, 20 minutes late. And he looked at me and goes, so you think you can do this? I said, yeah, I've got like an hour to swim a mile in. I normally swim at a mile and a half in under 40 minutes. So I figure this mile will take me about 25 minutes to do. And he said, all right, you passed, no problem. Head back to work. It's like, what the hey? But then, I mean, at the time I was swimming a mile and a half in under an hour.
Yeah, that's really good.
So
I'm not sure how far I could swim in that, like a mile, especially. God.
Back to bed, useless. Okay, well, you try to have a good day. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it.
Oh God, Becca. Damn it. I don't need those images in my head.
Oh God. I can remember back, don't ask, don't tell. And one of my comments then was, if they might at that time was they might as well just get rid of male and female dorms and have one, just assign people to the dorms. And if they got the communal showers, they got the communal showers, everybody in them, regardless of gender. Because if I'm going to have to go in and take showers with somebody I know who's sexually attracted to other males, then why shouldn't I be allowed to shower with women?
Bishop, I agree with the biological freedom nipples.
What's up?
Right.
Good morning, Bishop. Free the nips. Free the nips. The problem is most of the women who want to free the nips, I don't want to see them.
Really? I mean, seriously, what's the deal with that?
It's like at the, I get, it never fails 4 or 5 times during the summer, I'll get asked if we allow skinny dipping after midnight in our pool.
All right.
And it's never by anybody that I want to see naked. It's never by anybody I want to see naked.
I can see that.
You know, it's like, why is it's always the fat, ugly people that want to get naked in public?
Yeah. I have no idea. I mean, it's like the running joke about the left is ugly and all the good looking people are on the fucking conservative side. I mean, just look at all the conservative supporters. They look like they at least have their shit together, you know. But you look at the left and they just, oh my god, like what are you doing with your life, dude? No matter what.
Okay, Bishop, deploying with the CBs? Ah, interesting. I've never had anybody I've never heard anybody tell me any stories about what it's like deploying with the CBs. I mean, I've heard stories of people deploying with SEAL teams and with the Rangers and with sniper groups and yada yada, everything else. But I've never heard anybody talk about the CBs.
Well, I've heard of a few people talk about deploying with CBs, but yeah. It ain't very many though that I know of. Not personally.
Now, 2 of my favorite old time war movies. One of them's with John Wayne, and it's called The Fighting CBs, about the initiation, the invention of the CBs.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
I probably have a long time ago.
Right. And then there's another movie called Frogmen about the beginning of this, what eventually turned into the SEAL teams.
Yep. I know I've seen that one.
If the title is about actions, yes. If it's talking about groups it's directed at, absolutely not. Oh. I imagine they keep their construction equipment clean because they've got to have it. Clean equipment usually operates a heck of a lot better than dirty equipment does.
Always.
So that's why, I mean, my son hates me. He hates it when he comes over to borrow my tools because all my tools, I still shadow box my tools.
Yep.
If you know what I mean by shadow boxing.
I don't let people borrow stuff because I've done realized it never comes back the way it was when it left.
And you know, and when I'm done, I take a lightly oiled rag and wipe down all my wrenches and sockets and such before I put them back in their little foam cutouts.
I don't go that far, but I do keep my my equipment maintained.
So
I cannot stand that, you know.
Well, that's something I did when I was in the Air Force. All of our toolboxes had foam cutouts where every tool had its place where you could sit there and the inside of the cutout was spray painted orange. Yeah. So you had black foam with the orange cutout.
Yep.
So just by looking, you could tell if you were missing a tool or not.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty good idea.
If you could see orange, you were missing a tool.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we always wiped our tools down before we turned them back in. Made certain that tool, because one thing you hated was picking up a tool that was out of a toolbox that was nasty.
Oh, yeah.
And since you never got the same toolbox twice,
Well, see, I worked for a friend of mine for years. All right, and I could not stand it. You know, this is working construction. Okay, and whenever the end of the day is up, you know how people are. They don't care. They'll just throw that stuff anywhere. Tools all over the place. It's never in the right spot. Never in the same spot. No, I took care of that because he paid me basically that whole time that we was cleaning up or everybody was cleaning up. I was over there putting the tools back where they were supposed to be because I was the only one that actually organized everything and kept it in the right spot and all that. And it just, oh man, if somebody rolled up a cord that wasn't right and was all knotted up and everything, oh, I'm telling you, I would flip out about that. Because when you go to roll it out in the morning, it ain't never gonna roll out right. Like, dude,
good morning there, Mass Creations. How you doing today? Showing up just as it's time for us to get off because I've got to go to work.
it was a good stream.
I'm okay. Now let's see. Today's Thursday. That means tomorrow is Friday, and tomorrow is a continuation of our book stream. Becca and Dar and I, or not Becca. What am I thinking here? Raman, Dar, and I will be talking about some books, having some fun. You have to get on learning. What are you trying to learn? Now, what the title of the stream today, Facebook is, well, they've determined that some racism, some hate speech is better than others. So yeah, you know, those book streams get twice. I just noticed it last night. Those book streams get a lot more views than my regular stream does.
Really?
Yeah. My regular stream may get 6 or 7 views. Those book streams will get in the 20s.
Could be partially shilling.
So something computer science related. Ooh, I love computer science. But I hate to say this. I hate to admit this. And it scares me that I have to admit this, but this past half dozen years, I've realized I'm not catching on to the changes as fast as I used to. It's more of a struggle for me to latch on to the changes in dealing with computers. And
well, it is changing. It is changing a lot more often.
It's more of a struggle for me to catch on to some of it. You know, it's like, why is this change even necessary sometimes? I've actually said that once. Is this change really necessary?
Usually, no.
You know, it used to be, oh, good, a change. Great. What change will this, how will this make this better?
When
And
you're
that's
talking
not,
about
that now I don't say
usually-
that as often. More often I'm likely to say, is this change really necessary?
when you're talking about technology, usually the change isn't necessary. The change is about more encroaching on what the information that they can get from you.
And you know, oh man, Sean, that week my sister was here. I didn't check my email once that whole week. Oh God. I finally worked up the nerve to sit down to purge it the other day. I spent 3 hours deleting emails, going through my email and checking it and deleting this stuff that either had expired or stuff that was no longer valid. So, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it. It's a little bit past 2 hours now, and I've got things I've got to do because I do got to go into work today. And we're finally finished up the last of the Thanksgiving dinner meal.
That took a while.
Well, I mean, you saw the pictures of what I made.
Yeah.
So the pies and such were gone within 48 hours. Okay. The pies didn't last long. But like I finished up the dressing day before yesterday, finished up the mashed potatoes day before yesterday. But I intentionally made a lot of those because I want them to last.
Mm-hmm.
And the last of the turkey, well, I took some leftover turkey, some leftover chicken wings, and some other meaty leftovers, ham and such, and run it through a grinder. Then added relish and onions, celery, bell pepper, mayonnaise, mustard, and made a sandwich spread out of it, which is really good.
It sounds pretty good.
And was
Interesting.
even more better, though. It made it good in an omelet. I was surprised. Well, I mean, it had bacon and sausage in there along with turkey and chicken wings.
I could see that.
So
just it's a self-processed meat product, Didn't have all the other stuff in it.
But I ate the last of that last night for my supper at work. So that means I got to start cooking again here starting tomorrow if I want anything to eat for the rest of the week. But anyway, y'all have a good day. I want to thank you for coming out. Come and join Dar and Undead Ramen and I tomorrow. And when we talk about some books and whether or not we read them and whether or not we thought they were any good. And of course, we'll get sidetracked about a couple other things, but it's all dealing about books and such. But I appreciate you coming out today. Oh, that poor female cop. Yeah, I saw the video. They released the video of her right after it happened where she all but collapsed on the sidewalk there.
Oh, yeah.
Saying how badly she screwed up, that she had, I shot him, and she's in tears and but thank you, Becca, for coming out. Bishop, Sean, Mass Creations, Shio, I know you're probably still dirty lurking. I appreciate you. Parody Bear, man, I really do appreciate all y'all coming out. Neil, thanks for popping on stream with us.
No problem, man.
All right. And as always, do your best to be with the ones you love and to always love the ones that you're with. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.